What's up, Majis? My name is Manu, and of course here niko na Joakim himself, eh? Alright, Joakim, namna gani msee?
Niko fiti.
Uko poa?
Yes.
Confidently, unapiga serikali vibaya sana.
It deserves to be beaten even more thoroughly than I'm doing. It's a government that gives people a reason to be angry every day. Unaamuka tu hivi, utake maneno mingi, unastukia Nelson Koecha anasema shoot to kill. Unaamuka siku ingine, hauna mambo mingi, unastukia president anasema piga watu marisasi ya miguu. Najua mimi huanga na suspect kwamba every statement Ruto huanga ana make anakuanga anatafuta biashara mahali. So hii statement ya kupiga watu risasi ya miguu, could it be akona order ya wheelchairs anataka kuuzia Wakenya? Because why else is he ordering Kenyans to be shot for doing things that are constitutional and their rights?
Do you think you are doing the right way, maandamano, demonstration?
Tell me which other way do you want us to do it?
Ukiangalia hii maandamano mnafanya, kuna uwizi sana. And I think
inamaanisha serikali imeshindwa na kazi. Mbona mwizi anaiba na polisi wamejaa huku na wamshiki? Why are the police not arresting thieves? Have they arrested even one? Is it because thieves are so clever that the police cannot even catch one of them? These thieves are stealing during daytime. And we have not had a thief nursing gunshot wounds in hospital. The only people in hospital today are unarmed protesters. Goons and thieves have not been arrested. Do you know why they have not arrested goons? Mm-hmm. Because they are doing what the government is doing. The government is looting, the government is destroying, it's stealing. That's what goons are doing.
You want to say the government are sponsoring goons?
If they have not sponsored the goons, let them arrest them. They have the power, they have the means, they know the goons. We can show you their pictures. We know them. I am hearing very lame accusations against the opposition, that the opposition are the ones planting goons.
Yeah.
Tell me, if the opposition is powerful enough to pay police to work hand in hand with armed goons, is it now to mean that the opposition is also paying the police to be complicit to that crime? Because, for instance, June 25th in town, there was mass looting downtown.
Yes.
The looting took hours. No police officer came to stop the thieves from doing what they were doing because they were following the script they had been given by the same government. The people who are being shot left, right, and center are the people who are unarmed. Today we have a young lady called Bridget who was shot in her father's living room. Was she protesting? No. But she's now dead because she was shot. The people who are being shot are not thieves. Thieves are being protected. So, hii serikali, ndugu yangu, nasikia president akisema enough is enough. Sisi ndo tulisema enough is enough. Enough with the killings, enough with the pilferage of public resources, enough with the lies from government officials, enough ineptitude, enough cluelessness. Jana president anasema ati enough is enough.
But ukiangalia constitutionally,
yes,
mtu anatolewa kwa power through voting. Can you just wait that in 2027 you do
this? We had a social contract with this government when they were voted in for specific services they should deliver to the people. When the people feel that the government they chose is not serving them, they have every right to terminate that contract. In the event that the government you voted for is very unpopular, it has turned itself into a terrorist unit against its own people, what other option does the people have? It's to revolt. It's still very constitutional. The Constitution only tells us how we should exercise our power indirectly, like through choosing representatives, elected members. But the Constitution does not highlight how we should exercise our power directly, which gives us room to do anything in the name of exercising our power directly, including we can even decide to ban state house. There is no law that stops us to do that.
Ban state house.
Yes, if the people decide to do that, it can happen. It is exercising our power directly. The only way we can stop banning state house is because we are not evil-hearted like them. But if we decided to behave like them even for 10 minutes and behave exactly the way they are behaving, we will not have the country. But they are lucky that the people are practicing restraint. The people care about tomorrow. But these people don't care. These leaders don't care. When education fails, the only people who get affected is you and me, because we don't afford to take our children to Ivy League schools. When education fails, when health fails, we don't afford these hospitals. When roads are bad, it's you and me who are going to be affected. For them, they have second countries. They have dual citizenships. If things get bad here, they can hop onto the plane and leave us here. That's why we care about how the country should fare on.
But ukiangalia recently amejenga kanisa kuwaombea demonstrators kwa sababu mnafanya vibaya, mnaiba.
Unajua kulikuwa na prophets of Baal kwa Biblia.
So you mean one of them your church imejengwa?
That's a prophet of Baal temple.
Your church imejengwa? Oh, serious.
Let me tell you. The leader of this government that is building a church, a representative of this government voted for LGBTQ rights at the UN. What does that tell you?
Maybe he's repenting. So
repenting after giving people who are evil a platform to be recognized. And then you are building a church using your money to build a church on a prime public property. Tell me who does that in their right minds? The reason why we are asking today in Turbo, pupils are feared dead because a pit latrine has crumbled. Turbo, neighbor to the president, but he's building a church. Now the guy who is building a church, when we tell him that we want to come to State House and fellowship with you, he feels bad. Yes. A person who is building a church is saying you should shoot people. He ferried women from Kawangware
to where?
To Kilimani. The same women that were ferried there, it is their children who protest. And then he told them in their eyes that your children will be shot in the leg. So that at the end of the day, every Kenyan will have at least one disabled person in their family. You can you imagine the kind of country we are making? So when we say Ruto must go, we have a million reasons. A million reasons. And I told everyone, if you are not eating with this government, and you are not ignorant, you are not eating, which means you are not benefiting from the mess, and you are not ignorant.
Acha nikuulize swali.
You should say Ruto must go.
Joakim, acha nikuulize swali. How much have you been paid to do this? Ama unafanya tu kwa roho yako?
Mimi niulize wewe. If the road outside your house is muddy, do you have to be paid to come out and say this road is muddy? Do you? No. When the education system that is churning out half-baked graduates produces quacks in the workplaces, and you experience a quack in hospital when you need medical care, do you need to be paid to talk about it? No. When you see an innocent young girl has been shot in her father's living room, do you need to be paid to talk about it? Because you could be safe today, tomorrow you could be the one who is lying in that mortuary, having been hit by a stray bullet. So, this issue of paying, how much was William Ruto paid for him to defend Raila Odinga in 2007? How much was he paid for him to support Uhuru Kenyatta in 2013? If the only thing they can think about is you've been paid. You know, they are people who have commercialized everything, and they cannot even imagine the idea that you are doing things out of personal volition. I want a country where I can feel safe. I want a country where my children are guaranteed of getting a job when they finish school. A country where I can access medical care when I need it. Not this health platform they have created that works like a betting farm. Today, everybody wants a public job, but no one wants public service. The minister who wants to be, the person who wants to be a minister of health does not want to get services from a public health facility. A minister of education does not want his children to go through the public education system. A minister of agriculture is having his own farms, farming his own meals, because he knows that the docket he's leading cannot produce food. Those are the things we are fighting.
After election 2022, William Ruto was a darling of people.
Yes.
Do you think alikosea wapi?
Alikosea
Wapi?
sana. Unaambia watu umetenga 100 billion ya kutafutia vijana milioni 4 kazi, alafu wakikuja kusema sasa hiyo kazi milioni 4 uko wapi, unasema nyinyi mko na pepo, mnapinga kila kitu. Wanashangaa, sasa hii mambo tuliahidiwa, sasa leo tena tuko na pepo. Alienda huku Machakos.
Maybe alisema some of them wako na pepo, si wote.
Alisema hao watu wako na pepo, wanapinga kila kitu. Alienda huku Machakos, akapata hao wasichana wanafanyanga kazi ya jioni. Akasema sasa mtawacha hii kazi, mimi nitaweka 50 billion. Sasa mfanya kazi ya maana. Wengine siku ile nyingine hawakuja, wakidhani watapewa hiyo pesa. Hawajawahi pewa mpaka leo. Akasema wamama hawatawahi lima na mikono yao, watapewa trakta 10,000 zitakuwa spread across the country, so that wewe ukiwa na shamba unataka kulima, serikali with its own fuel inakuja kulima hiyo mashamba. Leo ukimuuliza anasema let us be practical. Kwani tulikuwa theory tukikampaign? Huyu mtu alituambia there will be no extrajudicial killings.
I think shida ni advisor, si yeye.
He's the one who employs his own advisors. Which means if you employ bad advisors, you are a bad person. My friend, we have reshuffled and even impeached some people from this government, thinking that they were the problem. But we still have the same problems. We have only one person who has not been impeached and he has not been reshuffled, and it is the president. The president appoints a cabinet secretary, and then later on complains of the incompetence of that person. It takes an incompetent president to employ an incompetent minister. So if we are having incompetent cabinet secretaries, who appoints them? The president. Do you have to be Michael Scofield to know that there is something wrong here? No. In the direction of making everything work, first step is getting William Ruto out of that office. As far as he continues to hold that office, nothing can work.
But Raila Odinga
Yes.
alisema William Ruto is the best performing president by now.
The
Hadi
best.
akajoin akuwe broad based government kwa pamoja.
I don't remember Raila saying William Ruto is the best, but I remember Raila saying even if we give William Ruto 100 years, he will not perform.
But he's working together.
Yeah, it is the same Raila Odinga who came up with the idea of IPPG in 1997. Inter-parties parliamentary group to talk about how Moi had won the elections and how they can work together. At the end of the day, he got into government through a corporation. And he became Secretary General of KANU. In 2005, in 2006, 2007, he came up with the National Accord and Reconciliation after the disputed election results in 2007. He ended up with a Nuzumukate as a prime minister in government. In 2016, 2017, BBI, which resulted to a handshake. Now he came with bipartisan talks in 2023, which resulted to a broad-based government. Today, the same Raila is proposing intergenerational conclave.
What's that?
He doesn't run out of words to describe a problem. So this is the same person we've trusted with all our body parts.
Nani Raila?
Yes, but he has heartbroken us. Ushawaiona ule mtu ulikuwa umeaminia yako yote. Ni kama ule demo ako Gulf ameamini brother yake kabisa. Akilipo mshahara anampeanga yote. Akijua akitoka Gulf atakuja kuanza maisha. Akikuja unapata ndugu yake alioa bibi ya pili, hiyo pesa haiko. That is the heartbreak we've experienced with the Raila Odinga. You know the reason why I am personally bitter with the Raila? Raila is like a bright student who has failed exams. Unajua ukiwa mwalimu unajuanga bright students. So when a bright student fails, the punishment to that student is severe than the punishment to the student who know they can't perform. You know, I have no problem with William Ruto because I knew he will not do anything. He will not perform. But I have a problem with the Raila Odinga, who I trusted and knew he can be a fresh breath into the leadership of this country. But he is behaving like Kasongo, the same person. Yeah? So that's why I talk about that old man very bitterly.
Recently Sabasaba hiyo kuna business zilidestroyiwa but kuna moja ilionekana sana, Maguna Supermarket. Na Maguna Supermarket ukiangalia around the country imesaidia watu sana na ilisemekana it was sponsored by the opposition ndo ionekane nchi mzima.
Hii serikali iko na uwezo wa kukutoa kwa nyumba ya girlfriend yako kama umewacha simu kwako. Ulienda bila simu kwa girlfriend na inakutoa hapo. Ni nini inawazuia wasishike ule opposition mwenye alisponsor watu wakaenda Magunas? Kama ni Gachagua tujue. Pia mimi naweza taka kujua who is that in opposition mwenye anafanya mambo yenye tuna fight. That member of opposition who should be my ally in fighting for good governance, but went ahead and sponsored the goons. I would like to know them. The only people with the capacity to sniff that person out is the government. Do you know why the government is unwilling to do that? Because they are the ones who orchestrated the whole thing. The whole of it. That's why you see every person in government, all of a sudden they are very caring. Oh, businesses were looted. Oh, properties being destroyed. But they are not talking about bodies lying in the streets. We are talking about 50 billion property that was looted, but we are not talking about 30 lives that were lost in Sabasaba. Life is sacred. Today they are shouting shoot to kill. Wacha nikwambie, Mungu alalangi Kayole. Hao watu wenye wanasema sijui shoot to kill, mmoja wao ndiye tutazika tu hivi karibuni. Watapigana marisasi, wanakosananga na madini huko za matenda. You will come and tell me. And when it happens, usiseme ni mimi nilisema uwawe. Because you cannot wish death on people and expect God to bless you.
Ukimalizia,
Yes.
tunakuona unakuanga vocal sana bunge la mwananchi. And recently umejaribu kuongea ni kama unakuwa sideline, watu watakangi uongee kwa sababu vitu na make. Does it mean the government wamenunua bunge la mwananchi pia?
Kama wananunua parliament kabisa yenye mtu akona degree law, akona degree 10. Tom Ojienda is a professor of law, ananunuliwa. Bunge la mwananchi ni nini? That's why nakujanga hapa naangalia na unaona wameinstall somebody calling themselves speaker, nini, they have paid a few goons to make noise. You see? Because they cannot win the war of words. You do not fight logic with violence. You fight logic with superior logic. And because they know they cannot fight my logic, they resort to violence. And are curtailing me from accessing the areas where I can talk to people. But this is a digital era. I can even stand in my bedroom just before a camera and talk to Kenyans. So they have not achieved anything. But as far as I'm concerned, Bunge la Mwananchi will continue to advocate for Kenyans. Na vile vile, wabunge wamekuwa na wasiwasi. Vile nilisema, we will occupy their houses. Nataka niwakumbushe kama wanasahau. Tutakuja.
Lini?
Hiyo kwanza tukiwaambia watalipa reke school. Waja tusiwaambie. Wataamuka tu wapate watu 1000 kwa kila mlango ya mbunge. Hawajakuja kufanya fujo, kukula. Because they need to help us fight this president. See, they are saying the regime, we need to impeach the president constitutionally. So we are forcing them to do that. And we are actually, if they don't, we are actually going to make sure that no member of parliament can go to their constituency. The ground will be very hostile. Wataishi kwa Airbnb hapa vile walikuwa wanaishi after finance bill 2024. Because ukienda tu hivi ukionekana kwa matanga, wanawachana na marehemu kwanza wadili na wewe.
Probably when mnapanga lini?
Hatuwezi sema. Tuwezi sema.
Jackie, sasa ukiwekewa 10 million kwa meza, just one thing yenye Ruto amefanya yenye imekufurahisha.
Unajua?
Uwekewe 10 million kwa meza.
Niseme chenye Ruto amenifurahisha naye. Ngoja nikumbuke. Amefanya nini? The biggest thing William Ruto amefanya.
Affordable housing.
Wacha mimi niseme. Affordable housing. William Ruto cannot come up with such a project. Hawezi. Ni kama kufinya mawe toe maji. The biggest thing William Ruto has done, and I thank him greatly for that. And for that I am very grateful. I say thank you.
Yes.
He has awakened the political consciousness of the people. We had young people before 2022 who thought that politics is not their concern, who thought that the decision you make at the ballot does not affect your life. But today they know that the decision made by the president at State House can impact the size of your bread on your table. And he has done that by pressing the button of suffering to everyone. So that even a Form 2 student knows that we have a problem in this country, and the problem is the president. For that, I thank him very greatly. Very, very greatly. You know, I find myself in a situation where the late Vice President Wamalwa Kijana found himself in 2002 at Uhuru Park, where he was also asked to say something good about Moi. Then Wamalwa Kijana, the late, said that I am a very generous man. And actually Wamalwa Kijana was very generous. But I have thought of one thing I can say about Moi. One good thing. But I have found none. At least nimesema moja. Wamalwa Kijana yeye hakupata chochote.
Labda tukimalizia kuhusiana na issue ambayo umesema kwamba utaataka wajumbe ama mtapanga kwenda kuataka wajumbe bunge wa Makadara, kuingia bwana Ladwa kwamba wako tayari ikiwa mnataka kwenda kuoccupy basi wataoccupy nyinyi first. Sasa
huku kwetu watajua aje mahali mimi naishi? Unajua I don't stay in a mansion. Naweza hama hata na dakika 10. Yeye before hame tutakuwa tumefika. Na nilisikia mbunge wa Makadara akisema ati alipigiwa kura na watu wa Makadara, si watu wa Facebook. The people on Facebook are not fictitious characters. They are real human beings with locations. And I think even people from Makadara are on Facebook. And the people who will occupy Aladwa's home, it's not me. It is the same people from Makadara. Hao ndo wataenda because they have every reason to do it. You see? So Aladwa, I am not the enemy. You are the enemy of yourself. You have created an environment where parliament passes bills that hurt the people. When people are hurt, they look for the person who is making it possible for them to be hurt. You know, when you study medicine, I went to medical school, but because niko na roho nyepesi nikatoka. Sitaki kuona wounds. When you are treating a disease, you attack the source. When you deal with the source, there will be no disease. The source of our national downfall is parliament. They have metamorphosed from being watchdogs to lapdogs. Parliament. They have turned themselves into a rubber stamp for the executive. And therefore we need to awaken their consciousness and remind them that they did not get elected to work for William. They were elected to represent the people. That is why we have only decided that for them to know the weight on the shoulders of the Kenyan people, we are giving them an opportunity to feed 1,000 people daily until this finance bill expires.
Last the question.
Yes. Sisi tutaenda na magunia ya kubeba chakula. Osora anasema tuende na magunia ya kubeba mili. Tutaenda na magunia ya kubeba kama chapati zimebaki, tutabeba. Osora sidhani anaweza tutishia. Unatishia watu ambao wanaandika their own eulogies before maandamano. Somebody who pays deposit for his funeral charges at the mortuary. They need to understand that they are dealing with the young people who have been suicidal at some point in their lives.
So they have nothing to lose.
Some people are so frustrated that they are looking for an opportunity to cry. So ukisikia kuna maandamano unafurahia au unaenda mahali kuna tear gas so that you can cry without being judged. Unalia karibu na tear gas. Watu wanadhani ni tear gas lakini wao nakumbuka uko na watoto wawili, hawajakula, hujalipa rent, vitu kama hizo. So let them look for the things that are pushing the young people to the streets. Otherwise, telling people not to come to the streets, it's like broken diarrhea by stitching the anus. It cannot happen.
Labda umepanga kusimama wapi kama mwaka 2027 kama mbunge ama
2027?
2027 itakuwa kwa ballot. But that bridge we will cross it when we get there. Nilikuwa nimesema Kandui, but vile watu wa Nairobi pia wamesema nisiwaache. So I will have a decision to make when that time comes. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much guys.